This is a fairy tale story of Rumpelstiltskin. A farmer lived in a cottage near the king's castle. The castle was very big. It had many rooms, large beautiful halls, lush green gardens all around, and walls so high that it hurt one's neck to look at their tops. The king, who ruled from the castle, was a great ruler, and his kingdom was large and rich. The farmer, on the other hand, only had a small, 3-room cottage with just a small vegetable patch. He only had a hedge around his home, and even the smallest boys from the village could climb over his gate. He didn't have a large field either. It barely produced enough wheat to feed his family, with a little left over to trade at the market for things like cloth and soap. He thought it was very unfair that a king should live in such a great finery while he was left with so little. He dreamed of having his daughter married to the king, so that she and his grandchildren could have a wonderful life. But how would he make a king marry his daughter? She was pretty, but kings marry queens and princes. He would have to do something to make her more special than queens. One day he hit on a plan. He went to court and asked to meet the king, saying he had a problem only the king could solve. When it was his turn to step before the king asked him what was troubling him. "Sir," the farmer said, "I have a daughter who is the right age to marry, but I cannot find a good man for her." "Why?" asked the king. "Our kingdom is large and there are many strong, good men in it. Why are you having such a difficult time finding a match for her?" "Sir," the farmer replied, "ordinary men are suited for ordinary girls, but my daughter has a special skill that no man can match. I don't want her to marry someone who doesn't deserve her." "What is his special skill?" the king asked, feeling curiously. "Sir, she can spin straw into gold." "What?" asked the king. "What do you mean? If I were to give her a bunch of straw, she would spin into gold thread." "Yes, sir," said the farmer, "but not gold thread, but wire." "Sir, she would spin it into a spool of gold wire." This made the king think. Gold was the most valuable thing in the world. If he could have straw turned into gold, he would become very rich, richer than all the kings in the world. The more the king thought about the idea, the more he liked it. "Bring your daughter with you to the castle tomorrow. I would like to meet her," he said. The farmer was overjoyed. His trick had worked. Of course, his daughter couldn't spin straw into gold. That was impossible. But if the king was convinced, he might marry her before he found out the truth. The next day he dressed her daughter in her finest clothes and told her to wear her mother's most expensive jewels. Bought her a new pair of shoes and then took her to court with him. The king was unimpressed by how she looked. "So girl," the king said, "I hear you spin straw into gold?" The farmer had told his daughter to say she could, so she did. "Well," said the king, "I would love to see his amazing feat. I shall give you a test. I shall lock you up in a room full of straw and a spinning wheel. If you can't spin them into gold by the morning, I shall have both you and your father's heads chopped off for lying to me. Guards, take her to the room we have prepared in the north tower." Before anyone could say or do anything, 3 guards had taken her away from the court. She was taken to the room in the north tower and locked up. The room, as the king had said, was filled with straw, and in a corner was a spinning wheel. But what would the girl do? She had no idea how to spin straw into gold. She didn't even think it was possible. She began sobbing and crying for help. She fell to her knees in the middle of the room and her tears running down her cheeks and whimpered and whimpered. Then a strange thing happened. A little man appeared. The girl didn't know where he would come from, but the door had not opened. He seemed to have just appeared. So he said to the girl, "You are in trouble, no? You need this straw spun into gold, but don't know how to do it." "Well, I do. It's simple as pea. I could do it for you if you want." "Oh, really? Really?" she replied. "You can do this? Please do. Please help me out. The king will kill me if I don't turn all this straw into gold by tomorrow." "You don't worry," the small man said. "I won't even take all night, but you will have to pay me for my work." "Oh," said the girl, "how much? I don't have any money." They settled on the girl's ring as the cost of a night's work for the little man. He actually spun the straw into gold, and that too before midnight. The girl was very happy and went to sleep feeling safe. The king was overjoyed to have so much gold. He decided on a second test in a bigger room, filled with even more hay than before. He told the girl the conditions were the same. Once more, the small man appeared in the room and offered to do her work for her. His price was her necklace this time. The next morning, the king was even happier than before, but he was not certain as yet. He set the girl a third, even greater task, spinning an entire haul of straw into gold. This time, when the small man appeared and she asked him to help, he asked her how she would pay. She had no more jewels, and his was a lot of work for him. "Well, if you don't want my jewels, then how can I pay you?" the girl asked. "Well, if I do this for you, you are going to be queen." "Well, how about this? If you become queen, you give me your firstborn child. That's the payment I want," the small man replied. The girl didn't know what to choose. If she agreed to give him her firstborn child, the king would be very angry with her and might kill her. If she didn't, well, he would kill her anyway. She decided to agree to the small man's conditions. When he saw the hall filled with gold, the king was ecstatic. It was more gold than he had in his treasury. He decided to marry the girl as soon as possible. The farmer was called back to court. An official proposal was presented to him. He accepted it, and within 2 weeks, the king had a new queen. Many days passed, the new couple happily. The queen forgot all about the condition that the little man had forced her to accept. But then, one day, she found out she was going to have a baby. She wondered if the little man would ask her to pay her debt. She was sure that as queen of such a large and rich kingdom, she would be able to offer him something else. 7 weeks after the child was born, a beautiful young son, the little man appeared in the queen's chambers. "I have come for my payment," he said simply. "I know," the queen replied, "but you can't have my son." She no longer sounded like a scared farm girl. She had become quite used to giving orders. "A deal is a deal," the little man said, "and even queens have to keep their word." "Oh, but I can't give you anything in the world. Why must you have my child? I'm a queen now, not some farm girl. You like jewels? I will give you the biggest diamonds you have ever seen, the biggest emeralds, rubies, anything you want. But I want your child, queen. That's the only thing I want. I can spin gold from straw. Do you really think I need jewels?" the small man asked, chuckling up at the queen. The queen noticed how he was speaking to her now, and when he said the last few words, she realized she would been tricked. He would wanted a child all alone, and she would fallen into the trap. "You have to give me a chance," said the queen. "If you don't give me one last chance, I will tell the king you tricked me instead of making an honest deal." "Fine," the little man said. "If you can find my name in 3 days' time, I will spare your child." Now the queen had no idea what his name might be, but she immediately sent out messengers to the farthest parts of the kingdom, trying to find the most uncommon names, names of small people and names of large people. She gazed all day, but she could not find out the little man's name. Just towards the end of the 3rd day, one lonely soldier walking back towards the castle overheard someone shouting under a bridge, "I am Rumpelstiltskin. I am going to win. The queen is a lady, but I will take her baby. She doesn't know my name. I will win this game." He kept singing this song to himself over and over again. The soldier realized what it meant. The little man's name was Rumpelstiltskin. He rushed to the queen and told her, "Your name is Rumpelstiltskin," she said. When the little man came to her that evening, he was smirking when he entered her room, but as soon as he heard her say his name, his smile vanished. He looked at her, anger boiling into his face. Just when it looked like he might attack her, he vanished in a puff of smoke, and the queen never heard from him again.